There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy a favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
Now, Diamond Audio has always been a big player when it comes to high-end car audio. But these last few years, the team at Diamond have been on a rampage, expanding and innovating in categories like motorcycle audio and power sports audio. Well, today we've got experts, both Bryan Piper and Ryan Klein in the studio, because we've got a whole bunch of new product to talk to you about, and it's got a lot to do with DSP. This is CMA Showcase, presented by SiriusXM, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and on today's showcase, well, you should know, if it's a showcase, we're going to be talking about new gear, and boy, do we got a lot of new gear to talk about today. We're talking about Diamond Audio, a brand that's been in, the very fabric of car audio for so many years and has expanded so much. Very popular in the motorcycle category, very popular in the power sports with all different types of solutions that we're definitely going to talk about today. But I'm most excited about all this crazy DSP gear. I mean, you guys aren't ready for how much stuff they're about to present today. I mean, it's a lot. And it just shows the type of dedication they have towards this very important category. But before we start, let's go ahead and reach out to their Canadian distributor, which is Dix Performance. And we have with us today in studio their 12-volt category leader, Mr. Dave McLean.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Hey, Dave. What's going on, man? Long time no see, and good to have you back.
It is great to be back. Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Well, I got to say, that is a very, very interesting display, I should say, that you have going on today. We're talking about Diamond Audio. Why don't you start off by sharing with us, what does the Diamond Audio brand represent for Dix Performance?
For Dix Performance, it's all about the quality, performance, and style. We are driving further and further from hiding speakers behind door panels, and we're showing off the technology more and more in side-by-sides and boats and bikes in particular, because they're right there in front of you in the fairings. So Diamond's bringing the style, they're bringing the quality, and they're bringing accessibility. So what we're seeing is that Diamond's been able to procure a lot of product. Things are working well in the product development stages with Diamond. And we're so happy to be here today to talk about all the new things they were offering. And we're excited to see what they have to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. I mean, as you can see, what I was saying is depicted right in front of you. They're known for car audio, that we know. And they've developed some incredible speakers and amplifiers to that effect. I see, different kind of can speakers in front of you and sound bars and all the different type of solutions, really. I think we're going to touch on a few things today that really are connected to what you're presenting and what you're saying, especially for your market. Now, you mentioned product development, and I'll tell you what, super happy, because not only do we have their trainer, we also even have part of the product development team, Ryan, that's going to be joining with us. I'm really going to probe him on, a couple of things that are coming up from Diamond. What are you most excited to learn about today?
Well, like the segment started off with DSP. They've gone down a rabbit hole of DSP that we're very excited to see them do. And I can't wait for them to explain everything that they've done to everybody. So we should get to those guys.
Well, a complete line. So guys, strap in. We're going to go ahead and bring on our product experts representing Diamond Audio to the studio so we can get the show on the road. First, we have Bryan Piper, who's their training and technical support specialist, who we've had on before as a trainer. But we also are welcoming Mr. Ryan Klein, who's their Western Regional Sales Manager, but also part of product development for Diamond Audio. I'd like to welcome these two gentlemen to the CMA studios. Guys, what's going on? Welcome to CMA.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, guys.
Let me start with you, Ryan. Product development and sales, that's kind of two different worlds, but I don't know how you balance that, but that's amazing that you do. What has been the biggest shift, or should I say evolution, as far as product development for Diamond these last few years?
Well, we started as a high-end speaker company. We made really great amplifiers back in the 90s, subwoofers, speakers. We've kind of transitioned recently into the motorsports and specifically motorcycle categories. We kind of became one of the leaders in that category. And then now we've taken the technology and the things that we've learned in that particular category and kind of spread it across marine and power sports, whether it's side-by-side, motorcycle, or boat.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that progress for sure. Seen a lot of that following that you guys have, and a lot of innovations that we're going to talk about today as well. And you know what? You've corrected me. I mentioned power sports. I mentioned motorcycle. I did not mention marine, which is an important category that we should definitely recognize as well. Bryan, good to see you again, man. How are you?
Good. I'm great. How are you doing?
We've been busy, and obviously we're headed into DSP month, so it's kind of timely that you guys are on here. We're going to be talking about some DSP gear. What's been the biggest challenge, though, from your perspective, getting the word out in such a short period of time with all these amazing products that are coming out from the Diamond can?
For us, it's been so many products so fast. It's one of those things where when you see a company launching product, you'll hear about them launching one or two or three things. For us, it seems like it's every month we've got new stuff hitting the market. We're getting emails and product information about stuff that we're putting out that'll be coming in the next couple of months. So it's always this continuous cycle of more and more and more coming so fast that a lot of times it's hard to get all the information out in a timely manner. So, coming on and getting a chance to present it with you guys and having Ryan here with us to kind of talk about the evolution of where we've gone and where we're going, perfect for this kind of situation. And so right now I would say, let's just get to it.
Let's get to it. Seems like we have a lot to cover. Ryan, give us an overview. What can dealers expect, those who are tuning in, to learn about today?
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about some motorcycle product. For those that are familiar with it, that's great, but there's probably a few things that you didn't know about, such as our plug-and-play harnesses and things like that help you integrate into these factory motorcycles without having to touch anything. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the new side-by-side product that we have available now, as well as we'll dive into some DSP, what's shipping, what's about to ship, and we'll go from there.
Dude, I think we're going to get some learning on today. This sounds really exciting. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and let both Ryan and Bryan set up for their presentation. And at the end of that, of course, Dave and I come back. We've got a whole discussion about all this new stuff we're going to learn. So here you have it, guys. Ryan and Bryan, take it away.
The present and the future. Some of the newest products currently available for a variety of platforms and what we're designing to drive the future. That's what we're going to talk about today. One of the first things we're going to talk about is motorsports amplifiers. So a lot of people might not know, but our micro amplifiers and our 8U series of micro amplifiers kind of are driving and leading the that category where we do small chassis, large power. We do some things in our amplifiers that help with thermal management because, if you stick one of these amps in a motorcycle or high up in a boat, heat's an issue. We're probably one of the leaders in that as well, as far as like reliability and still creating tons and tons of power. We also want to talk about some lid kits. So we have gone pretty heavy in lid kits. One of the things that we offer, and I've got one here to show, we've done a few things a little differently when it comes to our kits, where we make it so that our one kit fits every single speaker that we make. We offer this kit in 4 different versions, from our HXM all the way up to our new MS Pro Neos, which are pretty cool. Again, they do come with our harnesses that make it plug and play. And one of the things I really want to touch on, and I know Bryan's got one with him, is some of our plug and play harnesses. we make a harness, the MSRCA2 for your 2-channel bikes that are unamplified. And we also have one we have a harness. The one that Bryan's holding is the MST Link. That harness is for when you've got an amplified bike. Paired with our bypass plugs, you force the wiring back to the factory head unit, and everything is right there, so that when you go to mount one of our many amplifiers, whether it's an 8U or a micro amp right there near the radio, you're not modifying anything. You're not cutting wires. You're not making new harnesses. And the bypass plugs are available in 5 different versions depending on the system that you have. We also offer a predetermined length power wire kit as well. And you'll probably ask later on, why doesn't this all come with the kit with our speakers and our lid kit like some of the other manufacturers do? And the answer to that really is we've got so many different versions of it that we have a situation no matter whether you're using my product or somebody else's. Sorry, guys. Camera malfunction. So again, as you're seeing here on the screen, you're seeing our HXM speakers, our very popular coax horn speaker, which is a compression driver plus mid-range all-in-one speaker. So instead of having to use a mid-range driver and a dedicated tweeter, we offer it as a coaxial. And those that are used to our product will understand how much different ours sound than some of the other competition. And then the other one that we're showing here is what we call our coax sub. It's the first 6x9 on the market that plays full range. So you have the efficiency of a full range driver, but it also has the excursion of a woofer. That's why we call it a coax sub. So you get the low end that customers are looking for on a bike, because that's the one thing everybody asks for. But you also get the efficiency and volume of one of our pro drivers. One of the things that we're coming out with, and I think Bryan's got one with him, is we have been asked to make, we do a great job at mid-range drivers, but we have been asked to make a mid-bass driver. So Bryan's actually holding up, if they can zoom in on him. That's our brand new MS8MB Neo. This is a Neo driver, so as shallow application as possible, so it will fit in a bag. High powered, large voice coil, but this gives you that low end that some of those customers are looking for. Now, is this piece one of those ones where you got to modify a bag? Yeah, absolutely. But anybody who's in that market for something like that is going to be doing that. On the screen, you can see the frequency response of our mid-bass driver in a lid. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so the thing that we were going to talk about on this real quick is if you look at this in the lid, it is a little hot at 50 hertz, but you can see it's got an effective range of about 40 to 400 hertz. So this, when we're talking mid-bass, this is going to give you all of that bottom end punch that you guys are looking for.
And in that lineup, we are also working on a 10-inch version of that. Currently, we don't have it, but we are in the works on that one. One of the other things I want to talk about is side-by-side, right? So we took all the technology and all the knowledge we knew in motorcycle and marine, and we're jumping into the side-by-side category head first. One of the things that we're doing is we have a kit for the Razor 2-door and 4-door. We have the Can-Am X3 and the Polaris Ranger. So on the Razors, I've actually got a kit here that I can show you. That is the rear door speaker. So one of the nice parts is, right, is this thing comes already mounted to the panel. It's about a 15-minute install. And then we have our door side and our vehicle side plug-and-play waterproof connectors. The nice part about these is that it has the provision for our LEDs built into the harness so that you're not having to run an extra wire or an extra set of wires. And the nice part about all of our new power sports kits is they use our HXM F4 series of speakers. Every kit shares the exact same technology, exact same speaker. You get it with a multitude of amplifiers. You can choose from our DXM, which is our completely waterproof. So if you're somebody who takes your side-by-side and likes to sink it in the mud, you're going to want to do the waterproof. If you're a guy who really, really likes to go to the dunes or keep it at the beach, you can go with our 8U series, which would be designated our dirt series. Not completely waterproof, but boards are conformal coated. The amp is marine grade, so that you still get the same performance. Just it's not waterproof, but if big power comes in our DXM amplifiers. We do our kits with, you can get it as little as just the 2 speakers and an amplifier, or all the way up to amps, subs, radio, speakers, and tower speakers as well. Brian's got one of our tower speakers right there. That's actually the one that will come with our Stage 3 kit. One of the things we want to point out about our tower speakers that are kind of unique to Diamond Audio and has been for the last few years is that we include a passive radiator on every single tower we make. Now, most people are going to say, well, what does that give us, more bass? And the answer is no. What it does is it gives you a more full range sound. That means that you're going to get the full spectrum of a full range sound out of a can, whereas normally you wouldn't get that. Sometimes they sound a little tinny or they sound a little hollow. Ours are much more full range. Also, one of the things that we did in all of our HXM F4 series speakers, whether it's our towers or the speakers by themselves, is we use digital LEDs or assignable LEDs. What does this mean? This means that instead of picking one color at a time, you can literally have hundreds of patterns and colors and stuff going on your speakers, whether it's your side-by-side, whether it's chasing the whole car, or if it's on a boat, or even in a motorcycle. You've got your LED options. Everything's controlled via a controller that connects to your smartphone. So you can do your designs and your color patterns and your options right from the phone. It's pretty cool. And I think earlier you got to see them lit up by Dave in the introduction. The other thing we're doing now too is we dive into the Jeep category. Jeep obviously is the #1 aftermarket accessorized vehicle in the world. We felt we needed to be in that market, and we kind of did things a little bit different, right? So there's a few other manufacturers out there, and they've got things like 6.5s, factory replacements. And so what we did was we went one step further. We said 6.5s are cool, but what about a 6x9? Why can't we put bass up there? Why can't we get a little more low end? Brian's got our 6x9 OE kit, which basically replaces the factory kit. But we went one step further. We did a complete 6x9 or 8-inch option replacement soundbar. What does that mean? That means you unscrew the 8 bolts that hold the factory soundbar in overhead, drop it out, unplug it, put ours in, put the 8 bolts back in, plug the plug in, and off you go. Now you have an 8-inch or a 6x9 option in a complete replacement. Also, for the Gladiator, we're offering underseat subs. They're in production. We're still in production on those. They're not available yet, but they will be available Q4. We're going to do dual 8s using our DES series subwoofers that everybody's used to, and we're doing a quad 6.5. So it gives you a couple different options depending on what the customer really wants. And we are in production. We're working on a version for the JL. The JK and the JT as well. One of the other things that we're doing this year is we're doing accessories. We are diving into some pretty high-end amplifier kits. We had a few people request that we make RCAs and amp kits that were a little higher end. So that's what we did. Our RCAs are directional. They're using pure OFC wire. No CCAW around us, and we're doing dual mylar EMI rejecting, sleeving on all of our wire to make sure that ours do not get noise. One of the other things too that we did is we're doing our LOCs. We have a 2-channel and a 4-channel. All of them have they come with a volume knob or bass knob depending on the 4-channel, which has a selectable low pass. But what's kind of unique about these is that they've got the load resistors built in, because most new factory radios, because they use Class D amplification, you need to have load resistors in line. So we built them into our LOCs.
Okay. So what is the one thing that will make every system sound better, Ryan?
The answer to that, guys, is DSP. I'm holding up the brand new waterproof Motorsports 8-channel, 8-in, 8-out DSP. These have sealed ends. Everything is sealed. Now, why did we do this? And also, this is the 8-channel, and I've got a pretty big hand. These are very small. The 6-channel, which will be shipping very soon in the next week, is 3 inches by 3 inches by 1 inch. What does that mean? That means that if you put it on a motorcycle, you don't have to try to shove it somewhere. It means no matter how many amps you put in there, this thing is still going to fit. All right. And again, why did we seal it? Why did we make it completely waterproof? The answer is you can put it on a boat, you can put it on a motorcycle, or you can put it on a side-by-side. And I'll tell you, most motorcycles, most boats, and most side-by-sides are underserved by not using a DSP. Now, I want to stress, since we're talking motorcycle, that this is not a cure-all for flashing the new Harley Davidsons, but this will make your system sound better.
Okay, so what we've got here is the 6-channel is this. So just so you guys see, he had an 8. That's the 6-channel DSP I've got in my hand, 3 by 3 by 1 inch. This is what you're looking at here is a screenshot of the software for the 6-channel. The 8-channel software is different. We'll explain a little bit more on that here in a minute. So what you've got is you've got 15 bands of parametric EQ. You've got adjustable crossovers for high pass and low pass. You've got time delay. And then you've got at the top, you've got linkable channels. So you can link channels 1 and 2. You can link channels 3 and 4. You can link channels 5 and 6, or you can leave them independent. And then you can, if you've got a touch screen, you can just drag and pull your EQ points to wherever you want them, up and down, left and right, to move them across the frequency. Q is adjustable from 0.5 to 10. And it has built-in streaming, so you can Bluetooth right to this to stream your music. These do require a USB for tuning.
Yep.
All right.
Now we're into the big boys. We're into what we call our Pro Series, or our vehicle DSPs. So we're going to be offering these sometime around end of Q4 this year, maybe beginning of January. We will have an 8-in, 8-out, a 10-in, 10-out, and a 12-in, 12-out. All of those, including our Motorsports series, will handle up to 24 volts of high-level input. Has an RMS output of 6.5 volts. On the Pro, they are dual high-speed DSP chips. We don't use anything cheap on these guys. These are using something that some of the high-end manufacturers that are doing high-end home. It's a chip called the Shark chip. It's a lot higher end. Again, that's why we were able to do dual 32-bit. And of course, frequency response is 10 hertz to 25,000 hertz. So what does that get? What does that get us, guys? That means that we can do high definition audio out of our DSPs. One of the really cool things as well is these have Bluetooth built in, and it's lossless streaming as long as the device that you have does that. That means that even on Bluetooth, you still get uncompressed audio, which is the best of the best that you can have. That's something that, you know, a lot of the other manufacturers are going to. They're doing this, you know, these high definition wireless streaming. So we've joined that. We are also as well doing these DSPs in our amplifiers. So one of the biggest things for us, right, is that we are well known for our micro amplifiers. We're well known for our car amplifiers, our Hex series, which is the really high-end mobile audio stuff. And HXM, which is the big power marine amps. Some guys are crazy enough to shove those on bikes. Most of the guys use them in boats. They're scary high powered, and now we've added DSP to it. So we've seen a need, and we're filling that need, and we're doing it the Diamond way. So you can expect, again, like on our 8U series, we're doing high-powered small amplifiers, and we've thrown DSP in it. So now there's no need for an external DSP when you're doing a motorcycle. And we make that amplifier series in a monoblock, a 2-channel, 4-channel, 5-channel, and an 8-channel full range. The fun ones is when we get to the brand new Hex with DSP. We're doing a monoblock, a 1500 watt monoblock with 6 channels of DSP output. So say you had a system already and we want to add to it. Well, we can upgrade the base amplifier and add DSP at the same time. Or say you had a European car or some of these newer cars with multi-channels, more than 4, more than 6, more than 8. We have a 10-channel amp and we have a 12-channel that also have DSP output for adding down the line, upgrading, or getting to the speakers that were left out. So we've got DSP for almost every situation that you can think of. We've got a solution. That's one of the things we do. We're solution based, right? We see a problem and we fix it, or we see a need and we fill that need.
So a couple of comments I want to make real quick behind Ryan talking about the amplifiers there. The amplifiers will also do Bluetooth streaming, so you can stream right to the amplifier. So if you're doing boats, classic cars, things like that, where you don't really want a head unit, you can just stream right into it. Yep. On the Hex series amplifiers, they will be going to hold on. I lost my train of thought, Ryan.
Okay.
Regulated power supply. Sorry, guys. So what that means on the regulated power supply, like on the 12-channel amplifier, you'll have 12 channels at 100 watts RMS at 2 ohm or 4 ohm. Okay. Where most amplifiers, if they're using non-regulated, you gain power when you reduce the resistance. But this is a regulated power supply similar to our DES amplifiers. There are some other brands that are well known for running regulated power supplies. But that's one of the things that we like with this amp, to keep it efficient and keep it doing what we want it to do as far as performance and sound quality. Okay. I would like to mention Hoyt Richardson asked, he said, so you don't even need a head unit with the 6 to 8 DSP. Correct. You do not need a head unit. You can stream right to the amplifier. Yep. No need. So if you've got a bike that doesn't have a fairing and you're only doing lid kits or something like that, you can bury this in there with your amplifier, or you go to one of the amplified or DSP amplifiers when they're available, and everything can be completely tucked away.
Yep.
There you go.
Well done. Yeah. For you Road King guys that are out there that are doing just your lid kits and throwing an amp and a Bluetooth streaming device plus a DSP in your bags, guess what? You do the new 6 to 6 or the 8. Well, you wouldn't want to waste the 8 to 8, but you do the 6 to 6, and it's your Bluetooth streaming device plus your DSP. All you're doing is adding an amplifier.
Yep.
So yeah, Hot Rod guys, this is it right here. Streams high definition Bluetooth. I mean, you don't have to modify the dash.
Yep. All right. Hey, Ben, why don't you come back and let's talk a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a lot to digest. I got like 3 pages of notes from that one presentation, but I'll tell you, let's go ahead and put this away, the presentation away. Okay. And let's talk a little bit. Maybe we can even bring, let's bring Dave back in too as well, so we can have a little bit of a discussion. Certainly. So we'll set this up in the background. We'll get Bryan in here. We'll get Ryan in here. We'll get Dave back in here as well. And let's go through a couple of the crazy products that we just touched on here. Hey, Dave, good to have you back. Okay.
Good to be back.
How can I do this? Let's do this in sequence. So you talked about direct fit applications, right? You talked about plug and play. So you don't need me to tell you that word is like hoard out, right? That term, like plug and play. Right. Everybody has something plug and play. So my question to you, Ryan, while I have you, how does Diamond Audio qualify the term direct fit as far as applications go? And what does it mean when you say plug and play?
So for us, if I tell you it's plug and play, it means we're not modifying. Let's talk motorcycle first. If I tell you it's plug and play, it means that you're going to choose one of our accessories. Again, like I touched on, we do them separate from including it in a kit, like we do the side-by-side stuff. But if I tell you it's plug and play, it means you use one of our accessories based on the application. It plugs in, and there is no modification to the factory wiring. One of the reasons why this is really, really important on motorcycles is Harley has gotten really, really tight with their warranties. And if you modify a single thing, they're just going to void it right away. So if I can add this great big system, right, to your bike, if I can take what you had and really make it worth the money you spent and not have to modify a single wire anywhere, it's a win. When it comes to our side-by-side product, it means that factory fit, like in our case, right? It's a door panel that fits on the factory screws that hold the factory outer door skin on. So you're not modifying anything, you're not cutting anything. You're running the wires that are a predetermined length. Amps get mounted in a predetermined spot under the dash. That means that it's all plug and play. So our wires have the plugs for the amp on the other end, plugs into the speaker on one end, so that you can actually unplug and service it if you had to, right? So as far as side by side goes, that the plug and play is to us is that when you do the install, it should look like the factory did it.
No soldering, no sawing, cutting, splicing, none of that nature.
None of it.
Okay, I would stick with you, Ryan, because Diamond's got a little bit of a footprint, right, in bike, in motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear from you. Why do you think that is? How have you found success with Diamond Audio in the bike community?
Well, so lightning kind of struck, right, for us when we came out with the Micro Series amps about 5 years ago, because at the time there were a couple other manufacturers out there that were doing small amplifiers, but they were very grossly underpowered. We found a way to pull a lot of power out of our amplifiers, right? And do it efficiently. And we were having better luck with our amplifiers down the road because they were still working in extreme environments. And then one day we got a question from a customer and said, hey, I've got manufacturer A. They do a great job. I'm a big dealer for them, but I need something better as far as a speaker. So we said, okay. And it was for a boat. But the funny thing happened is we made this speaker. We did a design idea. I mean, I can give away a little bit of it if you can kind of
There
see
it is. What's that?
That is our new HXM 10 F4. That's a 10-inch coaxial marine speaker, power sport speaker.
10-inch.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Isn't that crazy? Neo magnet, big high power. This thing will handle about 500 watts RMS. You put a couple of these in a boat, that thing is going to just come alive. But there's crazy guys putting these in motorcycles right now, which is kind of cool. Well, again, one of the things I want to touch on is this little guy right here helped us with frequency response when it's down low in a transom. So if you stand up, the sound doesn't go away as if on some of the other manufacturers you put them low, right? You get that issue where you stand up and all the highs go away. Well, we were able to fix that problem, and then somebody stuck it in a bike, and because that speaker was 5 dB hotter than all the other ones available, they were like, oh my God, at 80 miles an hour, guess what I'm not doing? I'm not blowing speakers, because the problem with bikes is the first thing they do when they hit speed is turn the volume up. And as soon as they do that, you go into clipping and the whole world falls apart.
I think we all know there's only one volume level on a bike.
And it's all the way up.
Yeah, that's it. It's on or off. So
if I can give you options, a 6.5, an 8-inch, a 10-inch, a 6x9. I've covered every scenario you can come up with. Compression drivers. Dave's actually got one of our new MS65 Neos, which are our high-powered Neo mid-range speakers.
With the mid-range, yeah. We covered that the last time, yeah.
Speaker when you pair that with one of our MO75Ts, which he also has there with him today.
Really?
That's become a very popular combo.
So on the note of speakers, we're talking about speakers. Great segue. Bryan, I'm going to direct my question to you on this one. I noticed that within the catalog of speakers, there's a lot of 2-ohm offerings. I see that often in like subwoofers and stuff, like, single voice coil, 2-ohm offerings. What is the reason for that for the speaker lineup?
Okay, so the reason that we're doing 2-ohm versions of our HXM F series and the MP and the MS series speakers is with these amplifiers that we're producing, though they already produce a good amount of power, again, with like motorcycle guys and stuff like that, everybody's looking for more power. So what the 2 ohm version allows us to do is take the same amplifier that's rated at like 80 by 4 at 4 ohms, you put 2 ohm speakers on it, run it stereo, and now you're getting 150 watts per speaker. So for us, we see a lot of guys trying to bridge amplifiers to get more out of them. And on a motorcycle, you're limited in how much power you can take from the bike. So instead of seeing guys put too much power and not properly apply that power, the thought for us was, let's go ahead and build something that maximizes the available power we already have. So now you can take like our Micro 8 series, put 2 ohm MP series speakers on it, and have a 150 watt 4-channel amplifier. So 150 by 4 at 2 ohms, and you're not pulling any more current from the bike. It's producing the same amount of power with just changing the speaker.
So all the amplifiers are stable at 2 ohm even on the multi-channels, and you're saying that it minimizes any elevated use of resources as far as the power system is concerned on a bike, which is really pretty minimal, right?
On a bike, on a side-by-side, anything like that, we need to limit how much current we're drawing from the vehicle. So being able to do that will also help as we go forward into electronic vehicles, these EVs and stuff like that, where you're having to limit what kind of current you consume because they can only go so far on a basic charge anyway. So 2 ohm versions of speakers will help us accomplish that as we go forward.
All right. Dave, I know you're up in Alberta, big time side-by-side country. Obviously, Diamond just mentioned they're dropping 3 different platforms as far as the side-by-side kits go. Did you have any questions maybe for the boys here?
Of course. We have customers that buy in stages. They start small, head unit, pair of speakers. You mentioned stage kits. How upgradable are your stage kits?
So you can add, we have, like I said, again, when we were kind of going through the PowerPoint, we have as little as the panels with the amplifier, right? So if it's the Polaris Razor, it's what I showed you earlier. It's these guys, right? If it's the Can-Am X3, it's the ones that go up in the dash. So our kits start with the amp and the speakers. You can add the radio, you can add the sub, and you can even add the Marine Tower speakers. Now you can purchase it all at once, or you can upgrade to some of the bigger kits later on.
Perfect, because that's important.
Yeah.
Especially for guys, they want the higher end product like in Diamond, but they might not have all that budget at once because they probably just spend a whole bunch of money on the bike itself, right? Sorry, I meant bike. I mean side by side. Depends where you are in the country. Everybody calls it something different. But anyhow, while we're there, Dave, and I'm on you. Obviously, you have a bunch of goodies in front of you. You want to walk us through a little bit what you're showing today?
Yeah, so we're showing the gamut. We're showing what our most popular bike applications are. So Ryan alluded to our 7.5 tweeters. Those have become very popular. Guys cut them into the grills. We center mount them in the grill, mount them in the bike. And then they pair those either with the horn loaded or the MS Neos. The MS Neo has been just an absolute stellar seller. Great power handling, full waterproof cone, a higher quality than most bike speakers that we're seeing out there, and almost a direct fit for the new Harley fairing. So when you have those speaker boxes and you need something that fits in there right nice, these are the ones for that. And then we move on to what's new in marine. Really, it's pods. The F4 speakers have been absolutely stellar. All composite body, digital RGB, no noise. We don't get any buzzing or hissing or anything when we pick an off color. The pods, 6, 8, and 10. We have them in both a flat mount that comes in the box. They come with a 2.5, but everything from a 0.75 to do like a bar on an ATV, all the way up to 3.5. So you can even do them in the Jeep sound bars, roll bars, all that good stuff. So there's some great stuff there. Like they alluded to, passive radio, so really good dynamic range. These aren't hollow. They're not a can. They sound very, very, very good. And then that kind of gets us on to what they're doing with their sound bars. And their sound bars are different because they are absolutely gorgeous extrusions. They come with a lot of mounting in the box. You can flat mount them to a golf cart. They come with the bar mounts, the adjustables. They're not only extruded on the top, but they're extruded on the back side as well. So you can mount them on the back, so you can really get them high in the cage of a side-by-side. Digital RGB, same as all the other speakers. So you can kind of see them waving through there, all their colors here. A lot more dynamic than most LED systems. And let's be honest, we don't get to be flashy very often on the street anymore. So the side-by-side market's really gone off with the RGB. Whether it's light whips or sound bars, it needs to be loud and proud, and we like these very much so. Really unique thing on their sound bars is passive radiators. So just like their cannons or their cans or their tower speakers, very dynamic, very much full range. These do not bottom out at that 100 hertz, it seems. They really have some low end to them, and great upgradability with these. They come with a full harness. They come with a Carl-style switch, all the predetermined wiring. They come with enough length to run from most cages, and they come with all the RCAs to be able to connect into amplifiers and add that subwoofer or a set of cannons to really round out the system. So Diamond's gone just ballistic, giving us new stuff, and new stuff we're asking for, stuff that we actually want, stuff that the industry needed, and they've done an absolutely stellar job the last 2 years of really developing these things and giving us something that we're proud to put on the table and proud to present to customers, and just are legitimately excited for them to hear.
Amazing. And all that, and you don't even have the DSP pieces on that table yet.
I
So
don't have the DSP piece.
Okay.
I'm
I'm tempering this conversation, guys. We're going to get to DSP, I promise. But there's two things I want to mention there. Ryan,
Yes.
explain to us the passive radiator thing. I mean, I'm a huge fan of passive radiators when it came to subwoofer enclosures. I want to understand the benefit for passive radiators and what is the final result that one would hear from said passive radiators added to both your cans as well as the sound bars.
Right. So if we can use a tuned passive radiator in a much smaller enclosure, we can get a better full range sound. Right. It's not ported, as some people think, oh, if I have a passive, it gives me the sound of a ported enclosure. Right. Well, in subwoofers, it kind of does. But in a full range application like this, what it allows us to do is tune the enclosure at a lot lower frequency, somewhere near the FS of the driver. Right. So it allows us to get the full spectrum of full range sound in a much smaller enclosure.
So I shouldn't expect immediately, because it's a passive radiator, I'm going to get more bass. That's not necessarily the case.
Correct. What you perceive as bass in a can, you could probably expect to get in ours, because again, most cans don't play as low as ours do. And again, that's because we added a passive and it's tuned properly. One of the other things too that kind of made us famous in our previous series of HXM cans was our enclosures are a lot stiffer, right? Because we added a passive, we're creating more pressure, we're creating more sound. These things need to withstand that, right? They can't move, because if we get movement, as everybody knows, if your sub box is flexing, you're losing output. So we use a double wall design in our marine towers, and that allows us, again, so we can get the most out of everything and the most sound possible, the most full range sound possible when we do pair it with the passive.
All right. And I feel like we do need to spend some time. Bryan, maybe I can ask you this. When it comes to the sound bars, what would you say were a couple features and benefits that make the Diamond one certainly something to consider in the market?
In the sound bars, I'm going to go with the construction. These are solid aluminum cases, and the speakers that we use are just very efficient. So you get a lot of volume out of something that's not super, doesn't require a ton of power. So they are able to be loud and compact. They are a tuned enclosure with the passive radiators in them. Mm-hmm. So it's all about performance and sound for these things. It's our lineage to build something that is sound quality based, and we go with that on everything.
I'm going to argue with you on that one, Bryan, because I know it sounds great, but man, I've never seen a soundbar that looks that good. Like I can't help watching it, that light show because it's just so like. What was the word you used? Loud and proud, Dave? Is that the term?
Loud and proud.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
They can't hear you. They better see you.
That match with the light whip, and that's really, you'll go through the trail. You can't be missed. That's for sure. All right, guys, we're going to dive into the DSP. So I want to start by saying this. First of all, congratulations on the launch, pre-launch, whatever you want to call it. Because I know, in speaking with enough specialists in this category, the amount of dedication, research, resources, development, planning, so on, test. I mean, when you get into DSP, incorporating that with different chassis, different platforms, different amplifiers, it's a big undertaking. You know, I mean, some companies have taken years to develop this segment, this portion of their business. So congratulations to getting it to this point. I want to get into, let me go with Ryan on this one first, and I have a technical question for you after Bryan. You've broken this out into basically 2 offerings, or is it 3? Correct me if I'm saying this wrong. You showed the mini waterproof type that's great for like motorcycle. Let's start with that one, or power sports for that matter. You know, on the market right now, there is some DSP units available that have been specifically designed for bike. All of them, however, are standalone chassis type DSPs that are, you know, like kind of looks like an amplifier. You know what I mean? And they're large, and it's hard because, you know, and underneath the bike, there's not a whole lot of room. You've got that one classic spot where everybody puts the amplifier, and then you got to kind of find places to tuck stuff, right?
Right.
So talk a little bit about. Let's start with that mini. I'll call it the mini DSP.
So we learned a lot, right, from our previous DSP. We've had one on the market for a long time, and it was great. It sold well. It was cool. The problem we had is just like everybody else, it was too big. So we felt a need that we needed to turn this thing into something that could be installed anywhere in a motorcycle, no matter what your amplifier situation looked like, right? You got street glide, you got road glide. A lot of guys like to, whether it's our amplifiers or somebody else, shove a bunch of amplifiers in there, right? Well, if we could give you a DSP that would also fit in there instead of having to, you know, try to shoehorn it somewhere, we needed to do it. We saw a need. I knew what was going on. I saw where everybody was going, and I had to change it. And so that's what we did. And, you know, the Diamond one will be shipping again, like I said, here in about a week, in limited quantities. But yeah, you know, again, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of market research. I have a lot of samples of everybody else's stuff. I know what everybody's up to. And I know that when we do something, we have to do it right, and it's got to be purpose driven. And again, there was an issue. We found a solution.
Yeah, good.
And so we should be wildly successful with this thing.
It's a very unique. So I mean, I haven't seen one that's totally waterproof like that. That's that small.
Yeah.
You know, congrats on that.
Again, boats and side by sides needed too. Actually, I have one of these on my own Razor. So
there you go.
You know, and the other thing too is it's conformal coated boards. Our amps have conformal coated boards. The reason why we do that is so that the vibration, because you know motorcycles are super soft on the road, doesn't feel the boards. Right? You got all these other DSPs that are out on the market. There are no conformal
microchips bouncing off of them everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
I mean, you know, they're rigid frames. And so you got to have something that's going to withstand the elements, not only just the elements, but the road itself.
The environment.
You know?
Failure rates are high on that side of things, right? We see lots of bikes coming back with failure rates.
Very. And amplifiers, same thing. Why do we conformal coat our boards on our amplifiers? Same exact reason, because it holds the parts on the board. You know,
it's just a better board. Period.
Why they're so successful in motorcycles. So
yeah,
sure.
Keep those guys on the road instead of in the shop.
All right, Bryan, digging deep now. I heard you say that let's switch to the car amplifiers or the mobile audio amplifiers. So whole line, multi-channel, 12-channel, 8-channel, 4-channel, monoblock. Two things that stood out. What you said. Did you say that the monoblock amplifier has built-in DSP?
Correct. All of our DSP amplifiers will have 4 or 6 channels of output. So if you have
from a mono amp, explain
from
to
a
me
monoblock,
why that's
yes,
important.
from a monoblock.
Explain to me a scenario why that's important.
Okay, so say you've got a customer that's had a stereo in their vehicle, or you know they come and want a stereo put in, and they've already got a 4 or 6 or 8 channel amplifier, multi-channel amplifier that they want to use in there, but they don't have the DSP and they need sub. So you can add a subwoofer amplifier and use that amplifier to control their other amplifier with our DSP. So it's already there. It's already available.
You're adding a mono amp. You're adding now DSP capability
Correct.
to your pre-existing non-DSP system.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. And on top of all this is my second point I want to confirm. all of these devices include streaming?
All of them have Bluetooth
Capability?
streaming capability. Yes.
So wait, even the mini one that Ryan was showing?
Yes.
Yep.
So
Yes. All of
the
our
mini
DSPs,
all of them.
all the DSPs, all the amplifiers with DSP will have Bluetooth streaming capability right into them.
Okay.
Yes.
My last question on the matter is kind of two-parter. First question, you talked about power. That's kind of where the popularity of the Diamond Audio amplifiers really started in bike. There's no doubt, looking at those specs in your presentation, that power was a major focus also for these new DSP integrated amplifiers. Because let's be honest, on the market, there's a ton of DSP integrated amplifiers, and the number one complaint a lot of people had is, this is great, it's all in one chassis, but the power isn't quite there.
Right.
Ryan, I want you to comment on this with this new series.
Okay. So again, it's about not just the sound quality, but it's the performance, right? So everybody's looking for more power. So when we looked at amplifiers and DSP, it couldn't just be another offering of similar performance. So like with our 12 channel, we're going to have 12 channels at 100 watts RMS. Our 8 channel is 8 by 150. That's 4 ohm RMS power. So these are huge power amplifiers that will give you plenty of performance. In our Micro 8 series, you're going to see similar performance at 80 by 4 or 80 by 8. And then at 2 ohms, you're at 150 watts RMS. So again, it's that big power, small chassis, but giving you that sound performance that we want.
That is some huge numbers, Dave. I mean, for a multi-channel amplifier, never mind the fact that there's DSP on it. Those are big numbers posting for any, multi-channel amplifier. Ryan, I'm going to close with you. Obviously, huge commitment here, right? Bam, there it is. Like, there's no hiding anymore. There it is. What was the driving force behind this obvious dedication and development of DSP products at Diamond?
Well, again, I mean, the market is going DSP, right? We're going integration with less radios being sold and more factory integration happening. We had to be there too. We had to be a part of it all. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it with DSP. And if we're going to do DSP and amplification in one chassis, we're going to do it in every segment that we are a part of. Again, whether it's high-end car, whether it's high-end motorcycle, or whether it's high-end marine or power sports, we're going to do it. And that was one of the reasons why we said, hey, listen, if we're going to do a DSP, we're doing it in everything we make.
Blanket decision. I love it. So yeah. I just want to summarize a couple of things I wrote down that I want our audience to make sure they understood. This is a brand new line of DSP products from Diamond. A couple different offerings. You have it in a mini mode, which is perfect, and it's waterproof and firmly coated boards, great for motorcycle or power sport applications. And you have those both in a 6 and an 8 channel, correct?
Correct.
And then we have it in the intermediate, kind of like mini power sport style amplifier, which will also have integrated DSP. And then you have the big mama, car audio style, up to 12 channel DSP built in. Even the monos have a DSP output up to 4 channels. And every single one of these DSP units incorporate streaming. And is it the lossless streaming throughout, or is that only for the
everything?
Right.
Everything. Same Bluetooth chip.
Beauty. And what is that chip that you said? This dual processor DSP? Did I catch that as well?
On the car stuff, it's dual processor.
I've never even heard of such.
Actually, this one's dual processor too. So the 8-channel Motorsport and up is dual processors.
Guys, if you're watching, I mean, you can see my mind's a little blown. I hope you guys are blown too. This is some serious work that these folks at Diamond have put on. I think we summarized it right there. Ryan and Bryan, thank you so much for coming in today. Great to see that the momentum, right? The momentum and the ideas, and that you're listening to customers and what's happening with the scene. Dave and I are going to close this out, but I want to take this opportunity. Thank you, Bryan. Thank you, Ryan, for coming today. We'll certainly circle back with you once some of this product gets into circulation. We get to actually play with it and see what's up.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, take care.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Dave. Come on back here, Dave. Let me talk to you for a minute here. So you told me that they were going hot and heavy. I did not realize they were coming in this is like Top Gun Maverick hot and heavy, right? They were just
this isn't getting a whole new product line for us, right? Like, we've been with Diamond since 2015, and like, there's an amplifier, it's a subwoofer,
it was pretty standard stuff. Let's be honest. The bike was absolutely, something they took very seriously, obviously, and dove in. Now it's just like, bam! It's like you just got a whole new product line.
Let's catch attention, right? Like the solution based. Ryan caught it right. It's solution based, and we talked about this the last time we talked about Diamond and how they're really centric around having that full line. Let's expand a line that we thought was already full, right? Like we weren't really asking for a whole bunch, but they gave us the world here, and they fixed things that weren't broken by making them better. And they've listened. Giving guys lossless streaming
built in. Without having to buy another unit to add on.
No one's doing that. And the power. Let's get real. The other guys are really concentrated on the DSP side and making sure the tunability is there, but they ignored the power side. And they're not wrong. The guys want power. And 500 watts RMS.
Dude,
500 watts RMS in a coax.
150 by 8 with DSP built in. That's
in one amplifier.
Off the charts. In one body.
Yeah. In one body.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite thing they presented today?
I can't wait to see the 12-in, 12-out amplifiers. We're talking about a multi-amp systems that we used to have to build with 4 or 5 amplifiers. Now we're doing it with 1, and it's all built in, and I don't need a head unit, and it looks like a Diamond audio amplifier. Like, I don't know if anybody's seen the HX series in real life, but the extrusions, the bronze finish. It's top notch. You put these in people's hands and you see them touchy-feely. You want to see these amplifiers. You don't want to hide them in the fairing. You don't want to hide them behind plastic and put them in the back. You want to present them. They are of the utmost quality, and Diamond continues that trend of being that next level to what everything else we're doing. They're not your normal mainstream big box type car audio company. They're really about the independent tailor. They're about the small shop. They're about the small power performance retailer. And we couldn't be happier to be partners with them in their ventures, especially here in Canada. And, we're finding places to put their stuff that we just don't use other products for. We're doing more wave runners. We're doing more Sea-Doos. We're doing more boats. We're doing more bikes. We're doing more golf carts. We're doing tractors. We're doing skid steers.
You have Burns will just put Diamond lights in anything, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Can I mount this in my Traco? Like it's about being show all the time, right? So whether you're at the construction site, you're at the building site, you're at the lake, you're at the house, you're on the road, you're on your bike, Diamond Audio's got you, man. Like I just don't know where else not to put it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's my two that I'm like, number one, that 8 channel is blowing my mind at 150 watts times 8. That's stupid. I mean, that is,
and it's tiny. It's this chassis.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
That's not a normal size amplifier for that kind of power.
And the other one was the intermediate power sport style amplifier with integrated DSP. People, you can put that in your boat, put it in your whatever, integrated one chassis. Hats off to them.
Yeah, they're doing it right.
Thanks today for coming back in. It's been a minute, but we're happy that you're here and happy to talk about Diamond.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love coming and talking about Diamond because it's underappreciated.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have some more room in your warehouse. You're going to have to make some space for some more goodies inbound.
Those 10 inches are going to take up a little bit of room, bigger boxes, right?
They will. All right. So if you're interested, if you watched this far, you've stuck with us, you want more info, I think they actually have all the images of this new DSP gear on their website, diamondaudio.com. Go there. Probably says out of stock because it's not in stock yet, but it's coming. You heard Ryan. They're hoping Q4. Hopefully we'll see. We'll keep in touch with them. And if you're in Canada and you want some of this stuff, call Dave and his team over at Dick's Performance. There's the website, dicksperformancenorth.com. Mr. McLean, thank you for being with us today, man.
Thanks, Ben. Always a pleasure.
See you on the next one. All right. Awesome. Thank you to Bryan and Ryan for coming in and dropping some crazy news with all this crazy DSP stuff and everything else they're doing. So shout out to those guys. Make sure you continue. That's right. Locked into CMA Networks. We've got a huge month ahead of us. July is all about DSP. We've got literally every single DSP brand on the planet presenting this month through the DSP sessions from Tuesday, July 12th, all the way to Thursday, July 28th, each and every day, one-on-one brand. You don't want to miss it. These guys are putting out workshops, guys, with the trainers from each brand. You will learn the setups. You will learn the tuning tricks and all the great features about DSP. Even if you're a beginner, this is the time to window shop. And if you like this video and you want to see more, just hop over to our website, cmanetworks.com. Hundreds of videos to choose from. Every category you can think of, search by brand, search by category, or through your favorite trainer, cmanetworks.com. That's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in and hanging with us for the CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
Stop it. Yo, roll it down. I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?